Hey, it's Lindsay, y'all. Uh, let's see. So since my last video, I'm definitely feeling better. Definitely a little bit. Just a little bit more. I think I've kind of leveled out. So I think that's good. I think that was like 4 days ago. So yeah, nothing super exciting happened over the weekend. Nothing to talk about there. So for today's video, I thought I would change things up a little bit. I've been talking about a lot of the same stuff. Talking about some general transitiony things and name change and voice training. So today I want to talk about something different. I want to talk about dating because that's a world I'm jumping back into, and it's real different now than it used to be for me. The background on me on that a little bit. So I'm in my late 30s. Not going to tell you exactly how much. Um, but I'm in my late 30s. Uh, about 4.5 months into separation from my wife. So I mostly just refer to her as my ex, but the divorce isn't done yet. We're separated. The divorce is in the works, and I've talked about that a little bit before. Um, but yeah, so I'm technically single again. Like that that divorce is going through. Like there's nothing that's not going back. But before that, we were married for 3.5 years, and we were together for another like 2.5 before that. So 6 years roughly. We met in, is it 6 years? Eh, it's close enough. I want to say we met in 2013, or maybe it was 2014. I don't know. Either way, so 6-ish years, 6 or 7. I don't know. Fuck. Um, I've been off the market, and so I actually met my ex online on OkCupid.com, which if you do any online dating, you've probably heard of that one. So it was a little different then. Um, so before that, I had actually been on OkCupid for, God, I don't know, 8, 10 years, off and on over the years. And I met a lot of really awesome people. Um, yeah, some people that I'm still friends with today, um, and a few that I'm not friends with anymore. Um, but yeah, all of my significant relationships, well, I don't say significant, all of my relationships that lasted longer than a year, I think I met all of them on OkCupid. Now that I'm thinking about it, past like I think I had a high school girlfriend for like a year. I don't really count that, but from college onward, uh, anything that lasted more than a year was from OkCupid. Uh, and I met a lot of other people in that time too. Lots of people and a lot of other little relationships. That lasted 3, 6 months or something like that. Um, but yeah, so obviously over the years, I've sort of learned a little bit more about the kinds of women that I'm interested in because I should probably say that. I'm interested in women pretty exclusively. I know I've mentioned my sexuality a little bit before. Um, right now, I'm interested in women. I don't think I'm interested in guys. I don't think that's gonna change. I don't know. Probably not. So I'm gonna say I'm interested in women. So, as a transgender woman interested in women, I am a lesbian or a transbian, as some people will say. Um, but back before a year ago, I was, as far as I knew, a cisgender straight man. Um, and so that's how I dated. That's how I learned to date. That's how I dated for the first, you know, 3.5 decades of my life. Well, obviously, I didn't date when I was younger, but you know what I mean. Um, so that's how I dated. So um, I was kind of a serial monogamist, as I put it. So I don't really do hookups, and I don't really do casual dating. Um, I really like if I'm gonna date, I want to date somebody that like I'm not looking to like move in with somebody right away, but I'm not gonna jump into something if there's not at least some long-term potential. Okay. So that's pretty much what I did. And there were a few little hiccups along the way, but those didn't end well usually. Instances where one of us, usually me, was more invested than the other. I thought it had potential. They were just looking for a hookup. There was miscommunication, misunderstanding. I get hurt. Lessons learned, and every relationship that ended, I learned something from it about myself, or about dating in general, or about what I'm looking for. So, um, don't do hookups. Don't really do casual dating. Um, and I'm monogamous to the core. I I've definitely thought about polyamory or ethical non-monogamy, or however you personally describe it, and I don't have a problem with it. Just to be perfectly clear, I have multiple very good friends um, who it works for them. It works really well, and I'm very happy for them. But that's just not how I'm wired. And I thought I might be at one point, and it is a story for another day. But it ended up not being a thing. And after that consideration, I was like, you know what? This is not going to work for me at all. This is not who I am. Um, it would be a very bad idea. So I can go into that some other time about why all the whys of why I'm monogamous. But that's who I am. I'm a one woman kind of gal. I want I want to have my partner and no other partners for me, no other partners for her. So yeah, that was monogamous, cisgender, straight guy, um, kind of vanilla, and what I'm looking for, at least from the sexual front. Not really kinky. Um, Open to some things if that's what my partner's into. I'm open to exploring that, but I'm not looking to go like deep into the kinky world. Like, yeah, she wants to be tied up from time to time. That's cool. Um, Use a little riding crop. Sure, that's fun. Um, Toys are fun. Toys are always fun. Um, so I don't think that makes me kinky, but it's fun stuff. I've definitely loosened up a little bit about what I'm interested in, and thinking about kind of the position that I'm looking to fill in a relationship, um, including sexually. So yeah, I guess I'm not, for those who know what it means. Like not strictly in a BDSM sense, but generally speaking, I guess I'm a little more subby, a little bit more submissive, and that's true in the bedroom and in general. I think I can switch it up, but I think that's generally more who I am. So now that you know that, and that little bit of history, so cisgender straight man for all those years. And then I cracked and it's like, okay, I'm trans. But I was married at the time. So, and that's another story to go through. But generally speaking, I talked about it a little bit in my first video. But generally speaking, we tried to make it work. It didn't work. It took about 9 months to get to the point where she was done. So we called it quits. Like I said, that was about 4.5 months ago. So yeah, I'm back in the dating world, which is interesting because I'm pretty early still in my transition. Like I'm almost to a year, but that's still baby trans by a lot of standards. So yeah. And honestly, like at the time of the separation, I was not in as good a place with my transition as I am now. Like I've grown a lot in the last 4 months, especially. Um, so yeah, in my appearance and my confidence, I started doing voice training, which I said I was going to start doing in the videos, and I'm not really doing it. I guess maybe I should try to talk in a little bit higher pitch and practice that some. So maybe I'll do that for the rest of the video if I can keep it up. So, so yeah, so where was I? Uh, yeah. Oh, and close, and I'm out, and my name has changed, and so I've made a lot of progress on my transition in the last 4 months, and but at the beginning of that, not so much. So I wasn't super confident to say, go out and start dating and say, hey, I'm a trans woman, and I felt very insecure. It's not to say that I don't feel insecure now, but I feel a lot more confident in myself and myself as a woman and as a trans woman and as a person. So yeah, see, I'm already dropping the voice. It's practice. I've been at this for very long. So I should have had some water before I came up here, but I didn't. Um, so yeah, so I feel better now, but I've started an OkCupid profile like within a few weeks of the separation starting with no real expectations other than I'm going to see what's out there cuz why not? Didn't really expect anybody to write me or anything, and that was kind of the case. Nobody was really interested. So eventually, I didn't. Did I disable it? I might have disabled it for a little bit. Um, I was probably on there for like a month, and then I got off of it for like several weeks, maybe a month, and then so I've been actually looking earnestly for a couple of months. Um, so I got the OkCupid going again, updated my pictures because I look so much better now than I did 4 months ago. Like I go back and I've gone back and looked at the picture that I gave to my company for my ID badge and all of that stuff for when I came out in May. Um, I've come so far even just since May. I mean, it was June, July, August, September, so 4 months. Yeah, I knew that was 4 months. Why did I just count that out? I don't know. So yeah, it's been an exciting 4 months, and I'm excited for the rest of the year and into the beginning of the next year. Um, I'm gonna be a bridesmaid in the spring, probably in the spring. So I'm excited to see where I'm at when that happens. It's crazy. I don't think I've mentioned that yet, but that's the thing that's happening. Anyway, tangents. It's me. You've come to expect it. So yeah, so a couple months ago, 2.5 ish, started really looking again in earnest. OkCupid, and added Bumble, and I wasn't gonna add Tinder, but I have a friend that I work with, And she and her husband met on Tinder, apparently. I always thought it was just a hookup app, but I guess people really do meet there. So I added that. Um, a few weeks ago, I had a friend of mine who was like, I'm really curious. And this is a guy, but um, he was just curious. He's like, how are there any like lesbian dating apps and do those work at all? I was like, okay, well, so he Googled it and he sent me something. He sent me like a Google search, and I looked through there and I looked for the one on Android that had the most downloads, and it was an app called Zoe for queer women. So I downloaded that and set up a profile, and then maybe a week or two, it's probably been a week ago at this point. Time is weird. I set up an account on Hinge because somebody on a Discord server that I'm on said that she has friends who have good luck with it. I'm like, okay, why not? So, okay, Cupid, Bumble, Tinder, Zoe, Hinge. Um, yeah, I'm on five apps now, and I've had a few conversations here and there. Three confirmed, maybe four were definitely scammers of some sort, possibly bots. One of them was almost certainly a bot at first, and then I think it kicked over to a real person because I engaged with it. And I engaged with it knowing that it was a bot slash scammer. I just, um, I enjoy having those conversations with them because I think it's funny to see where they go with it. And usually the way I can tell is right away they open with like, hello, beautiful, or hey, pretty, or something like that. And like, that's not to say that people don't open with that, but I don't know. It just feels very disingenuous. Again, not to say that I'm unconfident in my appearance. Um, I feel very good about my appearance right now, better maybe than I have ever in my life. It just feels like a very odd opening. So, and that's happened on a couple of different sites. So I engage with them for a little while, have a little fun with it. One of them was like, I'll make such good love to you, or make such sweet love to you, or make love to you all the time. And I'm like, okay, okay. So then they mentioned it another time. And I was like, okay, I'll bite. So how? Tell me about it. And it's like, oh, well, I don't want to go too deep into the details. I don't, let's talk somewhere else. Let's go on Kick or um, WhatsApp or whatever. And I'm like, okay, at least, show a girl a good time, whatever. Um, yeah, I don't know what they're actually after. Probably just personal information or whatever, so they can steal my bank accounts. I don't know. Um, but yeah, so those are the scammers. I've talked to a few real people, and a few of them, they're not good conversationalists, is kind of what it comes down to. Like, I expect somebody to be engaged in a conversation. Um, I ask you questions and you ask me questions, and we both seem to show interest. I kind of have this personal rule that if I have to force the conversation to keep going more than three times and you haven't shown any indication of doing the same, sorry, my little rat dog is being yippy. Gizzy, I'm doing a video, buddy. Do you mind? He just gave me a look. Um, so three times I will push the conversation along, and if they still don't seem engaged, I drop it. It's not worth my time. It's definitely something that I've learned over the years is I often get more invested in things than my partner or the person that I'm talking to. So I'm trying to be more mindful of that. Uh, if somebody doesn't want to talk to me or doesn't want to be with me, fine. That's fair. Um, but I deserve better than that. We all deserve better than that, honestly. As long as that's what you're looking for. Some people might not be looking for that. For me, I want somebody who's going to be engaged. I want somebody who's going to care enough to ask about me and my interests and you know, and I've had those conversations in the past when I was dating as a guy. Um, I know they can happen. I'm just not getting them right now. I haven't really had any good solid hits um, on any of those sites. I don't really know why that is. I mean, part of it is my dating pool is considerably smaller now. It went from straight women and bi. Sorry about that. So as I was saying, my dating pool before was straight women and bi women, and my dating pool now is queer women, which is a considerably smaller group. And not just that, but they also have to be queer women who are interested in dating trans women, which not all of them are. And they also would need to be interested in dating someone who is monogamous and not terribly kinky. Well, a lot of the queer community tends to be a little bit more sexually enlightened because they've thought about it. Makes sense. So you have a lot of poly folks, and you have a lot of folks that are a little bit more into kinky stuff, and which is cool, but it's again not my thing. So my pool shrinks that much smaller. So so yeah, I've you know I'm definitely not keeping it to just a local search where I'm able to open that up. Because locally, what are the odds of me finding somebody who's going to meet all of my very specific criteria? Because I'm a real picky bitch. Because again, I've had a lot of time to figure out, oh yeah, this is what I like and this is what I don't. Um, but I've opened it up to pretty much anywhere in the country, and maybe even Canada. Eh? Uh, so I'm trying to keep an open mind in that. I've done long distance before, but it was in college. I haven't done long distance since college. Uh, so yeah, I'm being open to that, but still not really finding much. In theory, I would try to connect with the LGBTQ community here in town and maybe try to meet some people that way. Um, but there's a pandemic on, so it's not like people are going out and meeting new people. And that was never really how I met a lot of people anyway. A few people, but more than anything, it was online dating for me. So that's what I was trying to get back to. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure how that's gonna go. Um, Another thing I kind of had a realization about today, and kind of like I wanted to make this video about dating in general, but this was a thing that I thought about and I wanted to capture while I'm thinking about it, is dating trans women, dating other trans women, like not dating myself, obviously. And I was thinking about it because have I've said in some conversations with folks that I'm not opposed to dating another trans woman. I think there's a lot of ways that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense for some shared experience and things like that. That a cis woman isn't necessarily going to be able to relate to. And I know multiple couples that are trans women, and some of them are poly, so they're actually expands beyond that. Um, and they are living the dream. It seems like they seem happy. So I, there's nothing inherently about a trans woman that makes it that she and I are going to be more compatible or less compatible, I think. But I think I've had a hang up about it a little bit, and I think I finally have been able to articulate what that is for me. Because I do see profiles for trans women on sites, and it'd be hard to say there's not some sense of internalized transphobia and still adapting to my gender and my sexuality, because it's hard sometimes when I'm thinking about dating in general to see myself as a woman, even though I know that I am. I know it. It's who I am. But then in the eyes of others, being able to see myself as that. Um, so it almost feels like if I'm dating a cis woman, it's more like a straight relationship, um, which it's not. But this is societal conditioning. But then if I were to date another trans woman, and this is where the internalized transphobia and internalized homophobia come in, it feels like a gay relationship, which it is with any woman. But society has told me that I'm a dude, and society has told me that other trans women are dudes. And I know it's not true, but it's hard to break that conditioning. Um, and so before I I came out as trans, I was only ever in straight relationships. So being in a being in a queer relationship of any kind is a very new thing for me that I haven't really experienced. I don't really count the marriage because we got we got married and met and all of that when we thought it was a heterosexual relationship, and so it doesn't really count. Like, it didn't start as a queer relationship, so I don't think it really counts. And she wasn't into it anyway for for being in a lesbian marriage, as my former endocrinologist once put it, which my ex did not take kindly to having her marriage defined that way. Another story. Um, so I think that's part of it. Part of my hang up with dating another trans woman. And I think, being completely honest, another part of it is the potential for a dysphoria to bounce off of each other, I think. Like, if I get dysphoric, is that going to make her dysphoric? Or if she gets dysphoric, is that going to make me dysphoric? So there's that. But then there's the other part of it, another part of it, which is being completely honest. It sometimes when I see other trans women, it makes me feel like invalid, because it's hard, especially as a trans woman, because you're hyper focused on it. I'm a trans person in general, but for, in my case, trans women, you're hyper focused on all of the things that maybe out you as a trans woman, the things that remain of masculinity, because we're trying to train those things out, or hormone them out, or surgerize them out. I'm making up words now, but um, so that's a thing that I struggle with, is seeing a dating profile, because I I clock them as soon as I see the profile. Before I see where it says trans on it, I usually clock them. It's it's what we do. I don't think I've said clocking before on here. Clocking is when you see someone and recognize that they are trans. Um, it may be used in other places. That's the context that I know. So, um, so I clocked them, and I think there's that, like I said, that internalized transphobia part of me looks at it and looks at the almost maybe looks for the masculine things and says, "Well, I could never date her because she's she looks too masculine." And that's a really really shitty thing. And it's hard not to believe that I don't get some of that too from people, whether they're cis or whether they're trans, looking at me on dating sites and see my pictures and not see the masculinity that's still there. And that's something I got to work through. I'm not proud of it and I'm not happy about it, but I'm aware of it as a fault that I need to overcome, as something that I need to work on. So, but I still like it's hard. I'm attracted to femininity. Okay? I'm like butch women don't do anything for me. I need some sense of, I hate to say it this way, but some sense of traditional femininity. Um, just having smooth skin and boobs is not enough, you know? Like there has to be something more there that's traditionally feminine. God, sound I feel like I sound misogynistic when I say that, but like that's what I'm attracted to is femininity. And so I don't know, maybe that's it. Maybe that's I'm not as attracted to trans women that don't pass well in the same way that I'm not attracted to butch cis women. I don't know if that makes me a bad person or not. And maybe I should maybe not be so superficial. But when you're on a dating website and you're looking at pictures and you're reading profiles, you only have so much to go on. So, yeah. But it's funny because I think, and I hope when I'm thinking about people looking at me, I think maybe they'll see me and maybe they'll see, yeah, she's only this far into her transition. But damn, that girl's got potential, you know? So why am I not giving other people that benefit of the doubt? I don't know. I have on a couple. There's a woman that I've seen pop up on OkCupid a couple of times. And I think she may have even liked me at one point. And my insecurities got the best of me, and I've passed on her a couple of times because it does cycle through again the people that you've passed on after a certain point. So she came up on Tinder today, and so I swiped right. I don't know if she'll like me back or whatever. And I'm not going to overthink it. Like after I go to bed tonight, I probably won't think about her again until if she likes me back and we start a conversation or something. Um, but we'll see. But I'm not thrilled at the lack of attention I'm getting on dating sites right now. But because it's an adjustment for me, but it's my new reality. So I'm adapting and trying not to let it get me down. Because like what they always say is like, as soon as you stop trying is when you will meet somebody. Or if you stop trying, or if you stop caring so much. And I've definitely tried to. It waxes and wanes with me. Sometimes I care a lot, and sometimes I don't, and so it's fine. Um, yeah, I don't guess I have a really good, solid way to end the video, but I feel like I'm just rambling as I do, as you know I do if you've watched any of my other videos at this point. And this is probably like 40, 50 minutes long at this point. But it's a new topic. It's something new I hadn't talked about yet, and I thought it might be interesting. So, um, as per usual, like and subscribe. I'm gonna point here. I think it's about right here. Like and subscribe, and keep tuning in. I hope you like what you're hearing. So, until next time, love and hugs. Bye.